Well, guys, that was it. Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Finally!
This is not the first time I've had an LP go on for 10 months.
Hopefully it's the last.
Majora's Mask still stands at the longest, at 11 months.
It's just weird for this game because how short it is.
Yeah. It's not as short as AC1, but still definitely pretty short.
Alright, what are your thoughts on the game? How did you think the game was?
What point do you want me to start with? Story,
All
gameplay?
of them at the same time.
Well, this game was not viewed in a very bright light by a lot of the fans.
Including
And
me.
I can definitely see why, but I still overall really like the game, still think it's a really fun game to play, and definitely worth playing, even though it has quite a bit of oversights. I do like how they tried to make the game more diverse, adding some minigames. There were some... It was rather hit and miss. There were some games that... there were some minigames that were alright, like the parasailing thing at the end. And there were some that just completely bombed, like Den Defense. I don't think anyone liked Den Defense.
I like Den Defense.
Well, that's because you're a moron. A lot of people didn't like bomb crafting. I honestly didn't really like it either. Although I did try to get used to it, but there were just so many bombs that just did not have a purpose. Like, if you go back into this LP, you see that I will only use 3 different kinds of bombs. And for the latter half of this LP, I try not to use any bombs because I like to use the blades more.
Yeah, I only used really the smoke bombs and the sticky pouches if I really had to. Otherwise, I really wouldn't use bombs. And I also don't like how they switched around the controls from being a puppeteering aspect to just being controls. You know, it was actually very simple with the puppeteering aspect, where the Y controlled the head, and the X and B controlled each arm, and the A controlled the legs, but they changed it so it's now just different.
And in AC2 and AC Brotherhood, clicking down the left stick made you go into first person, and while I didn't do this in AC2 or AC Brotherhood, there were times in Revelations where I wanted to use first person view in order to get a closer look at things. But I couldn't, because that's not what clicking down the left stick does. I really don't like that they strayed away from the puppeteering concept.
It's just, you know, why fix what's not broken?
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
I mean, don't fix it if it isn't broken. Don't fix it till it is.
well, hopefully in Assassin's Creed 3 they, you know, put it back.
Yeah. Hopefully. What else about the gameplay? Oh yeah. Currency in this game was really hyperinflated, and I can understand how grinding for money in AC2 and AC Brotherhood was really easy, and they wanted to provide more of a challenge to it, but to the point where I had to grind for maybe 6 hours total in this game in order to get all of the books and all of the buildings and all the weapons and stuff, and I ended up not really getting much of a reward for it in the end, other than just fulfilling my completionist sakes. My completionist needs, rather.
Alright, I think we covered the gameplay.
Did we? What else? I'm thinking that there was something else.
No, I think that's it.
I think they did a good job with stepping up that you have to use stealth and not just run in there like a complete maniac and just killing everything you see. Because if you try to do that in the Templar dens, you're just going to get yourself killed by all the gunmen posted around, and you actually have to analyze the area and attack with precision and patience.
Which is why
So-
people who play multiplayer can't play the single player.
Exactly. So, on to the story. What did you think?
Okay. Story. Completely unnecessary. The only thing that was really good about it that I really liked was the fact that you got to learn more about Altair. Who...
I think Altair was one of the things that hyped this up a lot for me before the game's release.
Yeah.
Just the thought of being able to go back and play as Altair again. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get more gameplay as Altair than we did, but what can you do about it? Because I'm thinking there's not much they can do with that. But
Yeah.
I did like how we got some more backlight onto his and Ezio's meta stories. And I definitely think that the ending to Ezio's story arc is definitely more suited here than at the end of Brotherhood.
Yeah, because you actually learn who he gets together with to continue the bloodline that eventually leads to Connor in the third game.
Yeah.
Even though she's like 20 years younger than him. How old is she? I don't know.
Sophia is in her 30s.
So yeah, like 20 years younger.
Yes.
God damn it. Okay,
I'm not sure what they were thinking with the whole Sophia being a love interest kind of thing.
the fact that Ezio's a boss? That's probably the hottest woman he's ever been
think-
with.
I think they... Well, what about Christina?
Christina's good. But...
I don't even think we should be talking about this.
oh, I am.
So,
I'm talking about it.
I guess it was more of Ezio breaking out of this slump of his, because he does mention earlier in the story that when Christina died, something in him withered, as he put it. And Sophia pretty much put that spark in him back, that
Yeah.
charismatic spark.
But anyways, this story was completely unnecessary, even though it did help, like, bring things to a complete close. That I do give it. But I feel like that it was unnecessary to have an entire game about it. It's a really short game with a really small map and not really much going on.
Eh.
It was more suited for, like, a handheld game, to be honest.
Yeah, but then nobody would play it.
I know, but
And I still think this game is still kind of worth playing.
it is worth playing. It is a good game. It's just, compared to all the others, with the exception of the first one,
Yeah.
it's
I see ya.
terrible compared to them.
Yeah. Well then.
But yeah, I do think you should play it. If you like Assassin's Creed, at least to some extent, I think you'll like it.
I really do think Altair's story was given more justice in this
Yeah.
one. As opposed to Brotherhood, where they pretty much never mentioned him at all. And in AC2, the only story we pretty much got into him, which it was still satisfying enough,
It
was
good.
with the codexes. Or the codex pages.
That's one of the times I actually read like an entire database was for the codexes in the second game.
Yeah. I believe I plugged Geop's AC2 thread at LP Archive for it. Because I didn't look at the codex pages in my LP for it. Yeah. Still recommend looking at that if you don't feel like going back into AC2 and reading the codex pages and you're looking for a quick way to find it. But yeah.
Yeah.
The music in this game, I really thought the music was improved greatly.
It's the only thing you can really say is better than the others.
Unfortunately, yes, but it's at least something. And that's how long these credits are. My Xbox screensaver came up.
So many credits
Or
from all
it tried to go
different
into
countries.
power down mode. Yeah. At least they find the time to put all the credits in. Especially for this game being rushed, you know?
Yeah, for it being as short and as rushed as it is, there's a lot of people working on it.
Yeah, and they take the time to mention them all. Unlike other games where they say, oh, we don't have enough room for some people on the credits, but we'd like to thank you too.
Who's the person that screwed up Desmond's face?
I wasn't reading the credits because I was talking about stuff.
Does it actually say the guy who screwed up Desmond's face? I feel like it should.
In the credits, guy who screwed up Desmond's face in all caps.
It's in red and bold and it's like circled several times. It has his address right underneath it, and a good a good gun store nearby.
Oh, convenience. Just like the cemetery next to the Assassin HQ. But anyway, in case you were wondering if this is the actual end of the LP, I still have the Lost Archive DLC left to go, so there's going to be that. I'm not going to keep you guys in suspense about it, because you guys should know by now that that's coming.
I dare you to go through it without using ramps.
That is actually impossible.
Do it without ramps! I did.
You did not do the Lost Archive, period.
I did the entire other game without ramps. Ramps for pansies. You just jump up the flat platforms.
I don't think it's possible to clear the 5th stage, let alone the 3rd one, or the 2nd one, or the 4th one, without the ramps.
Well, we're gonna see. Next time! No.
You should record yourself and post it to YouTube with a face cam while you're screaming rape jokes into the microphone.
Rape! 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 I'm gonna rape you!
Oh, man. Okay, so, thanks for guest commentating with me, Air 5. Even though you were only here for the end and the beginning of the LP, which was against our plans.
Well, that's all that matters. Best parts.
And I'd like to thank Zod for helping out too, and I wish he could have been here to help out with us, but he's not.
But I'm here, and that's all.
So
that
not
matters.
much to. That's all that matters. Air 5's the important one. Zod was just filler. I was only using him because I realized that I can't commentate alone and make it interesting.
It depends on the game.
Yeah. Still, I like to thank him. I like to thank you. I like to thank everyone who watched this. All 7 of you.
Thanks all the people who made this game, except for that one guy who fucked up Desmond's face. Thank you.
That's when you
everyone.
get. That's what you get when you try to make LPs that don't involve, memes or scare cams. You don't get as many views,
Oh.
and I'm all right with that.
You just need a gimmick. What's your gimmick? Because, Yogscast, they have a gimmick of being British. That's their gimmick.
That's a legitimate gimmick right there. Any British LPer is already a gimmick. Don't even say it.
God damn, this is a long credit scene.
Yeah, these are long credits. I'm actually glad you were here guest commentating with me for this one, because I definitely would have run out of stuff to talk about halfway in.
We
by
already
myself.
ran out of stuff to talk about. We've just been rambling for like 3
Well,
minutes.
we're still talking now,
We've been rambling
so that's something.
for like 3 minutes.
Vice President, Senior Director, Retail Planning, Retail Marketing.
You know what I just noticed? It's
What?
gonna be on YouTube.
Yeah?
Like, you ever have those like stupid revelations where you just like,
Assassin's Creed Revelations,
about
giving revelations in more
and-
ways than one, even outside the game.
you're like, oh, that's
Alright, so what'd you say?
like, you ever have those stupid revelations where you like, it's like you just notice, oh wait, I'm really here right now. Like, you're really in this place. Like, it's just it's like those stupid revelations that you always have that like are kind of obvious, but it's just like mind blowing at the same time.
Maybe once in a while.
I don't know. It's
Not often.
It doesn't happen often, but it just happens. It's actually the second time today it's happened.
Well, you must have had a pretty interesting day.
I was in English class and I was looking at my friend and I just noticed I was really there.
Okay.
It's stupid. It makes no sense, but it really blew my mind.
Well, yeah, that was the end of the credits, which takes us back to Animus Island, and 100% completion at 23 hours.
Such a tryhard.
Probably 6 more hours of gameplay than necessary to complete it, but
Such a tryhard.
even with 100% sync, that's just me.
Oh well, that's the end of the game.
Yep. Thanks for watching the LP, everyone, and I will see you guys on the next project. Later.
See ya.